Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another UFC fight prediction video. In this video, I'll be predicting the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Andrade versus Blanchfield. So without further ado, let's get to our first fight on the card. So in our first fight, we have in the flyweight division, Juan Camilo Ronderos versus Clayton Carpenter. And how I see this one right here is I don't really see any real standout skills from Ronderos. I best he could make it a scrappy fight and just try to outpace Carpenter. But I just think Carpenter is just the better overall fighter, and definitely as far as the grappling, he has a very clear edge in the grappling department. I feel like he should be able to dominate there as long as he just plays to his strengths, mixing the striking just to set up his grappling. And then in that grappling, he should have a clear edge, and I feel like he submits him in the second round. Maybe a fill out first round, then a dominant second round where he puts a stamp on him and taps him out second round. So in this one, I got Clayton Carpenter via second round submission. Now to our next fight we have in the welterweight division, AJ Fletcher versus Themba Gorimbo. And how I see this one right here is Gorimbo, I just don't really see no real solid skills from him. And it's not even just the skills you probably say is a guy that don't really have fully fleshed out skills. Like, oh my gosh, he's so physically strong. He has so much power. I guess the best thing about him is that he's long and lanky. Well, he not that long. He only like what, an inch taller than Fletcher, or 2 inches taller than Fletcher, but he got like 10-inch reach advantage. So he got long limbs, but he ain't got no real smart fight IQ, or he ain't got no real power or anything like that. He's not sharp. I just don't really see no hollow skills. Also, poor takedown defense and chinny. I feel like Fletcher should win this one. That's Gorimbo makes it like a fight and makes it a battle of attrition potentially, and can survive a first round, survive getting hurt. I feel like it's gonna be a fight where he'll have to come from behind if he wants to win this one. But other than that, I can't really see anything I'm so impressed about Gorimbo in, unless, I don't know, maybe training the UFC PI once is going to turn this guy into a Super Saiyan. I don't see nothing really helping him here. I think AJ Fletcher is the better striker, the better wrestler, better overall fighter. I think he should be able to outstrike him. I also think he should be able to take him down easy if these mediocre fighters were taking Gorimbo down, put him on his back. Fletcher should be able to put him on his back, and I think Fletcher should be able to get him out of there. So I feel like a second round TKO. Again, probably fill out process first round, probably touch him up a little bit. Gorimbo get out the first, and then Fletcher been able to probably tag him the second round, drag him at, and really unload on the ground and pound him, get him out second round. So in this fight, I have AJ Fletcher via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the light heavyweight division, Ovince St. Preux versus Felipe Lins. And how I see this one? Yeah, I think with OSP here, he's definitely on a big decline, has been on decline for a while. He was able to rebound with a very, very lackluster, close victory over an old, worn-down Shogun. And Felipe Lins, well, no, I'm trying to say this right here, but all I'm trying to say is that OSP has been looking terrible for a long time. If this was a heavyweight, it really would be super confident Felipe Lins, but light heavyweight, for some reason, it makes me feel like a little bit less confident Felipe Lins. But yeah, OSP has not been looking good. His only win is a close decision over a shot Shogun. That's not a good look. Felipe Lins might have had a close competitive fight with Marcin Prachnio, but at least Prachnio still has a pulse. Shogun is literally in the last fight just folded up like a tea kettle. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Tea kettle or something. But he folded up like a paper teepee or something in that last fight. So, and some of these other fights as well. So the fact that OSP can really hurt or really drop or finish Shogun, to say he's shot as well. And like his time is, I feel, have passed. He could definitely win this one, but it's not anything I would be able to get behind. I feel like Felipe Lins is going to pressure him, just stay in his face. OSP has some good chance to land some counters. Who knows, maybe a reactive takedown. And then maybe Felipe Lins goes for a guillotine and he get that patented von Flue choke or something. Maybe there's some value in that. But yeah, I can't get behind OSP at all. And I feel like Felipe Lins should be the clear pick here. And also probably clear to get him out in the distance. Just stay pressure, stay heavy, tag him up, never give him really space to breathe, and get him out of there, I say, second round TKO. So in this one, I have Felipe Lins via second round TKO. Now to our next fight, we have in the featherweight division, Jamal Emmers versus Hussein Askhabov. And how I see this one right here is I feel like really with this one, it's just momentum. Jamal Emmers hasn't been very active. He's never really been a guy that's been having great success in the UFC. I think he got like 1 or 2 wins in the UFC, or in like 4 losses or something. Solid talent, but the talent doesn't mean always you're gonna have success. Like you can have talent in this, but you don't like fully chisel out that talent, or maybe the dice just don't roll your way, or life just don't roll your way. It is like you end up on some losses. I feel like that's where Emmers is at. he's an older man. But both guys have been very like largely inactive. I think Askhabov actually been more inactive than him. I think he hasn't fought in like 4 years. So both guys have been inactive. But Emmers, just hasn't really had that success. So he's not a guy you could really get behind. I think Askhabov is the better wrestler. I think Emmers is a more experienced and, I guess more tuned up fighter. Like he's been fighting at a higher level. That's where he's at. And that can come into like experience, like come into there's experience. And maybe that can help him in some situations. But also it can't really help him as much because he hasn't been active. So I can see he was oiling the pipes or whatever the case may be. And like he was in go mode and active. But the fact that he's been inactive himself, like can he really use that experience as much? I guess he can, but ain't gonna be his muscle memory as a guy that's been active and out there fighting and improving and stuff, like actually in the cage versus a guy that's been out the cage. So it is one of the cases where I just gotta go with Kusin Askhabov to probably mix in the takedowns, to probably control him to a decision, and just trust the momentum in here. But like definitely ain't no pick. I'm saying, oh, lock Kusin Askhabov looks so good. But I guess the one good thing is that he does seem to be this world-rounded fighter. He's this undefeated fighter. He is this younger fighter. And also, he's been training with Volkanovski, or he helped train Volkanovski with Volkanovski. He ain't the guy who trained him, but he helped train alongside, be a sparring partner, work along with Volkanovski for his fight against Makhachev. Now, with a clear indicator that's going to be good for him, but I can't see how it'll be bad for him. And just that's all a little bit of edge I need to be a little bit more confident in Kusin Askhabov. But again, this ain't no lock pick for Askhabov. But yeah, I'm just going to go with Kusin Askhabov to be able to beat him in a decision. So in this one, I have Kusin Askhabov via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the women's bantamweight division, Lena Lansberg versus Mayra Bueno Silva. And how I see one right here is it's hard to get behind Lansberg or really see any path to victory for Lansberg outside like a flash TKO or something. Who knows? Maybe she pulls something out, a rabbit out of the hat. But at 39 years old, on a 3-5 losing streak, been in fights where at least 2 of the fights where she was heavily grappled and really ain't showed nothing off her back. I see Mayra Bueno Silva being the younger fighter. I see her improvements in striking, already having that clear edge in the grappling. Maybe Mayra Bueno Silva won't just go out there and take her down and dominate her and tap her out. Maybe be a case where it'd be a scrappy fight. Bueno Silva probably be landing the volume and stuff, hurting her. Then maybe Lansberg catch her with a clean counter, hurt her, drop her. Then Lansberg try to go for the finish or try to go for some ground and pound. And Bueno Silva fires up an arm bar and taps her out or something. Or fires up a triangle and transitions to an arm bar. But either way, I see Bueno Silva getting her out of there. I don't see, at this stage, I don't see Bueno Silva losing. I think like this is a very confident pick. Ain't the clearest confident pick, like, oh my gosh, she's just so much better than her. She just destroys her in the striking, destroys her in the grappling. She just this next great thing. Is more so she's pretty solid and she's got some good momentum, and she's going in with an old fighter who never really been all that good. An old journey woman, basically. So yeah, I'm gonna say Mayra Bueno Silva's gonna mix it up, probably touch her up on the feet, then look to drag her to the mat. If the fight starts getting a little bit questionable on the feet, drag it to where she'll have a clear dominant advantage, which would be the grappling. And I see her getting that arm bar in the first round. So in this one, I have Mayra Bueno Silva via first round submission. Now to our next fight, we have in the lightweight division, Nazim Sadykhov versus Evan Elder. And how I see this one right here is I think Nazim Sadykhov has Evan Elder covered everywhere. I look at Elder's fights prior to UFC. I see a guy that's just, jumped into UFC too early. Both of them had the same record, but the level of competition, level of skill is just not the same. When I look at Evan Elder, I look at a guy that he needs much more time. Whereas Sadykhov, like a guy that he's ready right now, at least for this level of the UFC. Not to jump in and say, I'm going to be a big superstar, I'm going to splash in the UFC, but I could be in the UFC and I can work my way up. I have the skills and I have shown them I have the ability, I have the talent, I'm in the right team to, take my time in the UFC and develop in the UFC. Whereas Evan Elder, he's just going to be fooled, I feel, from what I've seen from his fights, and even his fight in the UFC. I think Sadykhov has him covered everywhere. I think power, I think technique, I think fight IQ, everything over Elder, even qualified experience, actually earning his way into the UFC, not just being thrust in the UFC. Got it all covered for Evan Elder. I think he picks him apart everywhere in the first round. Then I think he finishes him off in the second round, probably hurts him, drops him, or forces Evan Elder to reactionary shoot, or Evan Elder to this, I don't know. Either way, the strike is going to lead to the grappling, or he's going to mix the striking with the grappling. I think he hurts him, mixes up in Tasman. I don't know if it's like a drop. I don't know if it's a reactionary takedown. Either way, he's going to end up in a grappling situation after Elder is not really liking how the fight's playing out. He's getting worn down, and Sadykhov is going to capitalize, grab situation going to ensue, and Sadykhov is going to tap him out second round. So in this one, I have Nazim Sadykhov via second round TKO. Now to our next fight we have in the lightweight division, Jim Miller versus Alexander Hernandez. And how I see one right here is Jim Miller's riding a better momentum. He's on a 3-5 winning streak over three guys that somebody said was younger than Alexander Hernandez. But I can't really rate that level of competition too well because I feel like what was it? I don't know. Gonzalez that really has been easy money. Who else been in there? He beat Mota. Mota had I think like one decent fight rebounded after that, but you can't really qualify the level of competition he's fought. Then Cerrone, who looked like he didn't really want to be there. So level of competition you can't really even rate. But you look at Hernandez, he lost Moicano. He lost to a good fighter in Billy Q when Hernandez dropped down to 45. Probably a poorly made decision, probably out of desperation. Nonetheless, I think Billy Q probably would beat him at 55 as well. But solid fighter. I think Moicano is a very solid fighter. I think Billy Q is definitely a fighter that can, especially you already draining weight, even without you cutting weight. Billy Q is a guy that's going to push a pace on you. And then I think Thiago Moises, all solid guys. Moicano and Moises both, I think, would dog Miller at this point in his career. Definitely, I think Moicano would dog Miller at this point in his career. Moises, a little bit more of a contest, but I think Moises probably gets Miller out of there in the distance, probably sub or something. And Billy Q, probably like a decision. Matter of fact, yeah, probably a decision or a third round TKO over Miller what Billy Q would get at this point in his career. But yeah, when I look at this fight, I'm not even gonna focus too much on the pass with this one. I feel like Hernandez should be able to defend the takedowns of Miller, probably control the takedowns in this fight. If anyone's getting takedowns, it's gonna be Hernandez. Then I think Hernandez is the more explosive, younger fighter. And you got lucky he has wins over Olivier Aubin Mercier. He has wins over Benil Dariush. Has wins over Francisco Trinaldo. I think Dariush has the win over Miller. Yeah, I'm getting all over the place with this one. But anyway, I just feel like Hernandez this should be a good stylistic matchup for Hernandez to bounce back. And he is a young fighter. Yes, you see these slip ups, but I think this fight will be a good bounce back fight for him. Not gonna be an easy fight. And I know, this is a super confident pick. Definitely a low confident pick, but I definitely think this is a bounce back spot for Hernandez, the younger fighter, coming here motivated. And I feel like he's the one who could drown Miller. You could say, he has questionable cardio, but I feel like the Billy Q fight was because it was at 45. That was tough on him. Moicano just would hurt him, and then that initiated grab exchange. But other than that, this whole case of Hernandez having bad cardio is only something new. At first, his issue was not cardio at all. And I don't think that's an issue for him at all. I think cardio is solid on his pack, and he can fight for a long time. He's always good in well shape. I think when he cut to 45, he lost that. But at 55, I don't think cardio should be any issue for him. And I think he should have the better cardio, and I think he will show that in this fight. And Miller, if anything, has been the one that has had recently bad cardio. Just look at the Selecki and Pachel fights. Fights where he had to grapple heavily, and they were able to neutralize his submission ability. After the first round, Miller looked gassed and like he looked out of it. So I feel like Hernandez should be able to push a pace, should be able to drown Miller. And I'm going to say second round TKO for Alexander Hernandez. Just, kind of going against the whole thing that Hernandez needs to get him out in the first round. I feel like Hernandez needs to get him out first, second, or third in this one. I feel like Miller is the one who's going to need to get him out early. So in this one, I have Alexander Hernandez via second round TKO. And now to our next fight we have in the first fight on the main card in the light heavyweight division, William Knight versus Marcin Prachnio. And how I see one right here is, I think this is a very ugly fight. And I think it's going to play out a very ugly fight that's going to go to decision. I feel like William Knight's going to be coming out there looking for heavy shots. Prachnio is going to try to, fight smarter. You can say, Prachnio is this, Prachnio that. And he is this and he is that. Like, the man is chinny. And he does sometimes fight with, like, his brain, like, it's not attached or his brain is sold separately or something a lot of times out there. But he hasn't been knocked out since, like, 2021 or 2020. William Knight has been knocked out in his last fight. And he's, like, freshly coming back to 205. Yes, probably in better shape than he was at heavyweight, and probably refocus, revitalize. And I think he'll be the fighter trying to do more things, where Prachnio will just be striking. But I feel like with William Knight, he's just one of those people where I don't really see a true game plan behind what he does. He's kind of just those big shots, don't really set them up, try to force grab situations. Just really try to just muscle, impose his will upon you. And I think Prachnio has pretty good hips, should be able to defend the takedowns pretty well. And also, I feel like he should be the one to be the cleaner, crisper striker. My biggest issue with him is chin and striking defense. But I think it's going to be one of those cases where Prachnio going to show, like, hey, I haven't been knocked out in these past couple fights for a reason. I've been in with Khalil Roundtree, who hits like a truck. I've been in there with former heavyweight, took his best shots and never was really noticeably hurt in that one or in any imminent danger in that one. So going there with Willie Knight is very, he's a wild card. And this whole fight is a wild card, but I think Prachnio will be to use more lateral motion as he has been using in recent fights. Be to tear up the inside of his leg of Knight, outside the legs of Knight, and probably draw off some of these big strikes from Knight. I think it'll probably be a scary first round, but I feel as the fight plays on, and Knight's not able to materialize a knockout or, not able to get the fight down, get the fight out or, finish Prachnio. I think that finish is going to get farther and farther away from him. His Prachnio is going to keep piling up points. And Knight is pretty much a tank for the most part, so I feel like he'll be able to take those big body kicks, big leg kicks, and just keep charging forward, but probably more gingerly on those legs and maybe reacting more to those kicks. And he probably will get hurt, start getting torn to the body with some kicks, then get caught up top with a kick. But he got a big head on him, probably take that kick well, probably get rocked a little bit, probably try to force a takedown, probably just try to tap with him. And I see I just see an awkward, weird fight. Definitely probably an explosive, I rock you, you rock me, or maybe Prachnio just getting rocked and trying to survive that first round. But I see him just on his bike in the second and third and just chewing up Knight with kicks to a decision. That's going to be disappointing to a lot of people because they probably going to see like, this is a fight that can't go anywhere but a knockout or a stoppage. It's going to probably be just a disappointing decision because people are going to put so much money on a stoppage in this one, but it's going to end up being one of those weird decisions where, awkward first round, and then this, what are you doing second and third from Willie Knight and Prachnio just piling up points and chewing them up for those second and third rounds. So in this one, I have Marcin Prachnio via decision. Now to our next fight, we have in the heavyweight division, Josh Parisian versus Jamal Pogues. And how I see from right here is going with Jamal Pogues here. I have questions about his size. He's really probably like a fat welterweight or fat middleweight or fat light heavyweight or something. I don't really see him as a true heavyweight just yet. I see like a guy that formerly fought at a smaller weight class, then put some belly on him. I guess he said, I'm going to eat what I want to eat. These heavyweights aren't that good. This is a better weight class for me. I'm not as technical as these other guys. I'm not this and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to put some weight on. I can have better success at heavyweight, even though I probably realize I can't go all the way at heavyweight. But maybe I can extend my career or have better success at heavyweight. And maybe, I don't know, I get better now, cut down in weight. Who knows? Make some money, have some easier fights, and then cut down in weight later because with his size and where his skills at, he ain't going to be no great heavyweight. I guess maybe he wasn't going to have success at all at the lower weight class. So that's probably, maybe that was a decision to put on extra weight because of that. But that's my concern with Pogues' size. And Parisian on his side, I think always my concern with Parisian is cardio. That man's cardio has looked pretty terrible. Like beyond the first round, he just looked gassed, mouth breathing, paces completely dips off. He looked okay for the first round. The second round, paces completely dips off. And also with his momentum, I can't really get behind him. And I'm just going to say, a lot of speculative things. I'm going to say Pogues will be the better wrestler, better grappler. But how much will he be able to use that? Maybe better when Parisian starts to fatigue, then everything will open up even more. First round probably be pretty competitive. But who knows? Pogues being a smaller fighter, probably really like a middleweight that has weight on him, probably will have the faster hands, be the more fluid fighter. It'll probably be able to win the first round too. But I think the key for me comes out after that first round. I think it'll become clear that Pogues win. First round, toss-up. Or at least on paper, a toss-up. But beyond that first round, I feel like Pogues should be able to land cleaner shots, be able to maintain the pace. And then from there, set up his strikes. He should be able to set up takedowns, set up grappling if he wants to do that. By the way, I just think the theme of this fight is going to be Pogues being able to extend him out of the first round and just outwork him and beat him. So in this one, I got Jamal Pogues via decision. Now to our co-main event, we have in the light heavyweight division, Zach Pauga versus Jordan Wright. And we got one of the worst co-main events of the year, maybe all time in MMA. But anyway, Zach Pauga versus Jordan Wright. Let's be honest, the only reason people get behind Zach Pauga is because Jordan Wright has been having the career he has been having, like his path. Like he's just a guy that can never get over the hump. And he got like one win over a guy that, has a worse track record than him. But other than that, like loss. So you can't really get behind Jordan Wright like that. And that's really all it is. It ain't okay, like Zach Pauga looks that good. The only thing I really like about Zach Pauga is I like the way he took that loss on the auto fight. Like he was winning the whole fight, then he got caught. He's like, I ain't gonna make no excuses. It is what it is. I got caught. It wasn't no lucky fluke punch or anything like that. He wasn't saying like I was winning literally every second of the fight until I lost that 1 second. He wasn't saying that. He went back to the gym. He didn't make no comments about his opponent. He didn't take no excuses. And that's all I get. That's all I'm really leaning off. I'm not leaning off what I've seen from him because I don't feel like I see phenomenal wrestling. I don't see how I see phenomenal striking. If anything, I think Jordan Wright is the bigger physical man, even though he's come from middleweight and Pauga was dropping from heavyweight. Wright is still the bigger man, even though like I said, it's like two weight so many pounds weight. 265 versus 185 or really probably like a 235er or 245er. And a guy who's coming from 185, but Jordan Wright's still like the guy that's more lean and toned and actually bigger and physically bigger. Technically, Wright looks more technical, but he can be chinny, he can be caught. So I guess I'm expecting typical Jordan Wright probably come out with a blast early, then start to fade, and then we start getting touched a little bit, start to wilt pretty quickly. Keep those chin down, keep that hands down, keep that chin high. Hard to hit, hard to miss target, especially when he starts to get cornered off, starts to slow down. So again, I'm expecting typical Jordan Wright. I'm just based off, just really off, like I said, I ain't beating around the bush. This is a prediction based off Jordan Wright more than Pauga. So Jordan Wright dipping off after the first round, good, probably first round for him, good first round activity. Then starts to dip off. Pauga starts to find his chin. Then Wright starts to go into defense and starts to try to circle, but circles poorly, kind of straddles the cage. Moves in predictable ways, and Paul was able to catch him down, walk him down, cut him off, tag him with shots, and wear him down in the second round. Then I think he puts him away in the third round. So in this one, I got Zach Pauga via third round TKO. Now to our main event, we have in the women's flyweight division, Jessica Andrade versus Erin Blanchfield. And how I see this one right here is I'm going with Jessica Andrade here. I feel like Blanchfield's a very solid talent, but really looking at her, where she's at, I feel like that she's rushing ahead, or really the only reason the fight is rushed ahead is because it's short notice and Andrade stepped in. It wasn't because she really necessarily earned this spot to fight Andrade. Not to say that she's undeserving, but the reason my fight was made up or set up is because Blanchfield's opponents fell out, so Andrade stepped in. But not to say that she's doesn't belong here, not to say that's not gonna be a competitive fight, not to say that she don't have a real good fighting chance. She does have a very good fighting chance in this one, especially if Andrade underestimates her or overcommits to her striking and then leaves up avenues for takedowns. I think Blanchfield could definitely have great success in grappling if Andrade isn't mindful, but just giving off the experience of Andrade and the skill of Andrade, I just don't really see no clear edge for Blanchfield in this one. If she can get it to the mat, that's definitely opens up an opportunity. Get it to the mat and hold it on the mat and maybe get a round of holding Andrade underneath her. Maybe it's a different story, but from the striking aspect, I feel like Andrade has a much higher level of striking. And I really haven't seen nothing super impressive from Blanchfield on the feet. So I feel like Andrade should be able to walk her down, take her shots, just completely chew up on the feet. I feel like she should be able to physically muscle around in the cage. And this really should have the advantage. And I feel like Blanchfield's offensive takedown ability isn't all that great either. So it's not like she had like, oh, I'm a D1 wrestler, or I'm just so explosive with these takedowns or something like that. She's not that. It's like she's not no Tatiana Suarez or something like that. So it's like your takedown offense ain't all super phenomenal. She's not no Carla Esparza or something. As far as the wrestling. Because obviously you can say the full game way, maybe at this point she's better than Carla Esparza. But even then you can't really credit her that because she hasn't fought the same level of competition just yet. And I know a lot of people getting hyped off beating Molly McCann, but Molly McCann is literally a glorified can, to be honest. No insult, she's a glorified can, and that's just the reality of it. And most people she has beat have not been, matter of fact, everybody she has beaten has never been the upper echelon. Now she's fighting an upper echelon fighter on short notice. And I feel like Andrade is always ready in game for a war, and she'll bring it to Blanchfield. I think Blanchfield will show a good account for herself, but I think that's just about it. I just feel like Andrade is going to probably a good account for herself, but once Andrade starts to get a groove going and start to really land combinations on her, wear her down, walk her down, touch her with power, I feel like it's going to be something Blanchfield has never experienced before. And that's going to start to see her wilt under the pressure, the volume of the pressure, the volume, and the power of Andrade. Just relentless, coming out with combinations, tagging her shots. Blanchfield trying to go for takedowns and not being able to get them, probably going for takedowns and getting muscled around. And it's like not really finding an out to get a breather, not finding a way to get a breather from that onslaught that Andrade will be bringing to her. I think, like I said, she'll survive for a couple rounds and she'll be competitive for some rounds. I mean, she'll be competitive, but I just feel like eventually she'll start to break down. And I think Andrade puts her out in the third round via TKO. So in this one, I have Jessica Andrade via third round TKO. And that concludes my fight predictions for the full card of fights for UFC Fight Night, Andrade versus Blanchfield. And as always, thanks for watching.